YouTube, what's going on? Kyle again from ePoolSupply. Today we are back with a What's in the Box on Pentair's IntelliCenter wireless remote. So we're actually going to kind of dive in, show you guys what comes included, give you guys some tips and tricks. So stay tuned. All right, guys, and we're back. So again, today we're going to do a What's in the Box on Pentair's IntelliCenter wireless remote. So this whole system is generally intended for those that maybe aren't comfortable with the actual application that Pentair provides for the IntelliCenter, or for those of you that want to replace a spa side remote for your system. It also works really well for those Airbnb customers out there. So then that way you guys can give them an opportunity to control the pool and the spa without actually messing with any of your program directly on the IntelliCenter, or trying to give them partial access to the application to be able to mess with stuff. So it's really nice if you guys are kind of in that, looking for the vacation style, or if you guys are just not tech savvy and you guys would rather have a remote, and then again, spa side. So there's a lot of those out there for a lot of the older automation, easy touches. They have those spa side remotes, so that way you guys can just push a button, turn up the heat on the actual heater, maybe turn the pump on to get the jets going a little bit more, turn the lights on and off, whatever it may be. This remote will be a good replacement for that. So again, it's only going to work with the newer IntelliCenter. So if you do have an easy touch system, you can't buy this remote and expect it to work with that. They're two different types of software, so they do not communicate like that. So you will need a new IntelliCenter. So if you're unsure if you guys have an IntelliCenter or not, make sure you contact your pool professional. They can come out, inspect your actual automation board, and kind of give you guys some more information. So the part number for this one is 522036. Again, it is a wireless remote setup, so there will be some install. It's not just a plug and play, so we'll kind of dive into that as I show you guys all the different parts. So let's open up the box. I'll kind of lay it all out on the table, and then we'll go over everything. So you got your actual charging cradle. You have your new antenna. You have the back plates, waterproofing for the actual panel. You've got your cable needed for your antenna to plug in. For the charging cradle, you actually have the regular plug, which is really nice. So you guys can actually set this over by the back door somewhere. I mean, obviously the remote itself is going to be waterproof. So if it gets dropped into the water, or if it gets left out in the rain, you're not going to be, as long as you guys install this back plate properly, everything's going to be fine with the actual remote. But this way you guys can set this up by the edge of the house, be able to just use a plug outside. It's just got the AC, plug in, so it's really nice. They give you the mounting screws for both the back of the panel as well as the antenna. We got some paperwork here, and then of course we have the beautiful remote. So this remote is, as you guys can see, it's a good size remote. So for those of you guys that want to have that touch screen panel, that's what you're getting right here, instead of having to actually physically go to the equipment. So it's all nice and bagged in this heat seal, so I won't kind of open this up, but it does have the gold pins on the back that line up for the chargers, so that when you guys get this all plugged in, that way you guys can just set it down on the charger and get everything going. So for an installation purpose, it's really important for you guys to understand that once you guys have actually wired in the antenna and you guys have everything plugged in and you're getting ready to actually get the wireless remote to communicate with your IntelliCenter, it's very important to make sure that the firmware matches up. So there is a way on this actual remote to go in, see what kind of firmware setting that you currently have. If it's off by one number compared to the firmware that you actually have on your IntelliCenter, they will not communicate with one another. So we actually have a video in the links in the description that show you guys how to actually update your firmware on the IntelliCenter. The same thing will work for the actual remote. So it will need to be plugged in directly into the cradle. On the side of the cradle, there's an actual USB port here. So when you guys are ready to do the actual updating process, I always would suggest making sure that your panel is up to date first and then come to the remote. So then that way you guys can just plug and play. If the video is more directed at the actual panel, so then that way you guys can see how to do it at the panel. And then it's pretty much the exact same thing when you come to the actual remote. So that way you guys are ready to go. So it will need to be plugged into the cradle in order for that to communicate with one another, because the USB is obviously part of the cradle. So The other part, again, they give you the backing for the remote. There is one already on there, but they give you the full weather stripping, so then that way you guys can make sure that when you guys install the back plate on there, everything is actually sealed nice and tight, so that if this is next to the surface of the pool, you guys accidentally knock it in, everything on this will stay functional. So that way you guys don't have to worry about frying the actual thing. It's got some weight to it, which I like, which at the same time I believe it's more buoyant, so you'll actually get some floating going on when it goes into the pool. But just make sure that you guys read those instructions in setting those up so that you guys get everything nice and sealed. One key part is you do end up having to have another antenna. So if you guys are accustomed to your IntelliCenter, you guys have that big antenna over there that actually communicates with your router inside, which allows you to be able to use the application and access it basically anywhere in the world. So when you're dealing with this wireless remote, it requires its own antenna. That same antenna will not work for the remote. So you guys will need to wire it up separately. They give you the full antenna, they give you the screw set so that you guys can actually put this onto your equipment. It's nice. It's actually got the mounting plate, so you'll slide the antenna out, mount the mounting plate, slide this in, and then you're going to wire it up. This is the actual cord that will run from this antenna to your IntelliCenter to start the communication. So once you guys have actually gone through that entire process of installation, that's when you're going to dive into the firmware like I talked about before. So again, so for the paperwork, they kind of give you guys, again, they're talking about firmware updates. So they give you a big old yellow piece of paper that says, hey, make sure you guys do this. Our video will walk you guys through the steps for those of you that don't know how. So for the pool professionals out there that haven't done it yet, haven't had an opportunity to do any kind of training, we do have a YouTube channel. Again, all of the DIYs, if you guys want to learn how to do it, it's in the link in the description. They're going to give you just user guide information updates. Of course, they always give you the notorious warranty cards. Follow the steps on the warranty cards. You never know what's going to happen when you guys are actually hooking up electronics. So after you get everything done, you guys have followed the instructions, you feel like you're ready to go, you flip a switch and something happens. In order to make sure that you guys are fully qualified for that warranty, make sure you guys fill that out. It is a two-part process. You'll need a professional installation on top of the actual authorized purchase. I'm trying to locate here for you guys. It doesn't look like they have the serial number, may be behind the back here. For those of you guys, serial numbers are really crucial with anything to do with Pentair's warranty, so you guys do need to make sure that you guys keep it. So before you guys throw away the box, they always throw the serial numbers on the main sticker on the box. Take a picture of it, cut this out, so that just in case if this box gets thrown away, you guys actually have the serialized sticker. It's going to give a production date. It gives all that information that Pentair needs to make sure that they can take care of you guys properly. So last thing is obviously they give you instructions on how to do all of this. Again, our video will show you guys how to do the firmware. Everything else is pretty much straightforward. So if you guys do need assistance on putting the antenna on, the user manual can kind of walk you guys through this. We plan on kind of having a video in the future for you guys so you can kind of give you guys the different points of view. Again, for us, it's always more directed at like the Airbnb customers. So then that way you guys don't have to worry about having somebody messing with your program, because we all know that once you get it all set up and it's where you want it to be, it's a pain in the butt to have to go back through and adjust those things. So it's really nice to have this as an extra additive. It gives some more control to your guests, makes them feel like they have the ability to use some of your automation, maybe change the color schemes on your lights, depending on how in-depth your actual automation goes, landscaping lights, waterfalls, whatever it may be. That'll be your guys' chance to be able to set that up on there and whether or not you guys want them to use it. But they do have user profiles just like they do on the app, so you guys can kind of set all that up. So again, we just want to show you guys what comes included on Pentair's IntelliCenter wireless remote. Make sure, again, to check out the links in the description for the actual updating of firmware, as well as kind of how to install an IntelliCenter. So if you guys are just at the beginning process, you haven't gotten this far, make sure you guys check that out. Be sure to hit the like button. Make sure you guys subscribe. Stay up to date on all of our videos. We got a ton more coming your way. Till then, I'm Kyle with ePoolSupply. We'll see you next time.